On November 14th, 1881, the trial of Charles Guiteau, the man who assassinated U.S. President James Garfield, began in Washington, D.C. It would become one of the strangest and most infamous courtroom dramas in American history. But why did Guiteau assassinate Garfield in the first place? And what made his trial so unique? Guiteau's path to infamy started years earlier. He was a failed lawyer, preacher, and writer who drifted from one scheme to another, always convinced greatness was just around the corner. At the YMCA in Poughkeepsie, New York in 1880, he gave a speech supporting the election of Garfield. Literally no one attended that speech. Even so, when Garfield won the presidency, Guiteau convinced himself he was the reason. He repeatedly demanded that Garfield give him an ambassadorship. When Garfield ignored those demands, Guiteau believed God had chosen him for a new mission: to kill the president. Exactly 1 year after his speech at the YMCA, on July 2nd, 1881, Guiteau shot Garfield twice, inside Washington's Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station. The president lingered for 80 agonizing days. His condition worsened by doctors probing his wound for the bullet with unsterilized instruments. Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, even used a primitive metal detector called an induction balance to try to find the bullet, but to no avail. Garfield died in September, and the nation demanded justice. Guiteau's trial began that fall and gripped the Gilded Age press. He lectured the judge and interrupted lawyers, including his own. His brother-in-law, an Illinois patent attorney who took the case out of family duty, defended Guiteau on grounds of insanity, citing family history and delusions of divine command. But prosecutors argued he was sane, just vain, selfish, and eager for fame. During closing arguments, Guiteau sang the Civil War anthem John Brown's Body and reiterated the claim that he had made throughout the trial, that he had killed Garfield on instructions from God himself. At the end of his 2-month trial, the jury took only an hour to find him guilty. On June 30th, 1882, Charles Guiteau was hanged, reciting a poem he had written that morning called "I Am Going to the Lordy." Doctors removed his brain and studied it for signs of insanity. Portions of it can be found today at Maryland's National Museum of Health and Medicine, along with his skull, and a section of President Garfield's spine, which was used as an exhibit during the trial. Many experts today believe Guiteau suffered from serious mental illness. The case is a tragic one that shaped America's debates over mental health, responsibility, and justice itself. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1305, Clement V is crowned Pope in France, becoming the first of the 7 Avignon popes. In 1770, James Bruce of Scotland finds the source of the Blue Nile River in present-day Ethiopia. In 1851, Herman Melville publishes Moby Dick, one of the classics of American literature. In 1889, 25-year-old American Nellie Bly begins a 72-day solo journey around the world. In 1903, Harvard Stadium, the first built specifically for American football, opens. In 1970, a plane carrying most of Marshall University's football team crashes in West Virginia. In 2024, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump nominates Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as HHS Secretary. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. 13 European nations and the United States drew an imperialist map of Africa during a late 19th century conference in which city? Berlin, London, Brussels, or Paris? Liked learning about Garfield's assassination and Guiteau's trial? Then you'll really enjoy this one about the first U.S. president to die in office. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.